What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys here again, this time doing a new series on the channel, Game Spotlight. Me and Sloth have talked about doing this for a little while, and we decided we're going to kick this off. Massive Chalice is going to be one of the first games that we're going to talk about. And this series is just going to be about showing games that we're currently playing, we're having an enjoyment with, and specifically games you probably may not have heard about. Massive Chalice was a 2015 release, one of the first games I actually played on Xbox One. And to give you the best comparison, I would say Final Fantasy Tactics. It's a turn-based strategy game, good combat, great story. We're jumping right into it. I'm going to jump right into a battle and just kind of talk through some of the basics of the game. So for the battles, you get 5 heroes per battle on your side. And the really neat thing about this game is it seems pretty shallow on the surface, but it is super deep. You have pretty standard hero statistics, but the details tab right here is where this game really starts to kind of dive deep. Details goes over different personalities, traits. You have pretty standardized capability from the RPG elements of equipping and upgrading armor, weapons, items. Each different hero you have has a different skill tree. The interesting part about this game is it takes place over 300 years. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but your heroes age. So you're always bringing in new heroes to the battle with different traits, different personalities. You get the capability to breed them, if you will, recruit new heroes, give them new personalities, new traits, keep bloodlines alive. It's a really deep and really interesting game. A lot of choices. It's a game that really you can benefit from good choices early and also hurt you really bad later on. I'm currently playing on the hardest difficulty for my second playthrough, where after every decision for me it saves. Now if you play through on a regular difficulty you don't face that issue, so this has been a nerve-wracking experience, but this is one of those games. It's a great change of pace. Like I said, it's a turn-based strategy game. We're just flipping through the different types of heroes here. There are 3 main types of heroes. You have Caberjacks, which are essentially your melee tank units. You have Hunters, which you see right here on your screen, which are your archers, so your ranged units. And then just previously I hit, and right here, perfect, is one of your alchemists, kind of a mid-range and area of effect damage unit. Now, again, the neat thing about this game is I'm showing you right here, it shows you the parents and the siblings. This game is very about kind of the lineage and the bloodline of your heroes. We'll get to that in a little bit about how you essentially marry heroes together and allow them to have children, and those bloodlines continue forward. Again, I mentioned there's the 3 base types of heroes, but based on how you marry your heroes and that kind of thing, you can actually essentially kind of mold a bunch of the hero types together, making some really interesting and really neat classes for you to take into battle that really benefit from essentially 2 sides of 2 different skill trees to come together. These are kind of some of the base units. This is one thing about the game I will say, is you get very familiar with the enemy units that you find. There's not a ton of diversity. Again, this was kind of one of those, I don't know if it was a Games for Gold. I think it was actually, because I think I just ended up downloading it. So some of you might end up having it and maybe never played it. But if you're looking for a different RPG style, single player, kind of tactical game, this is right up in your alley. Again, the story is absolutely awesome. There's a good amount of humor in it. The decision tree, the fact that the game takes place over 300 years is really neat. And again, you kind of see how your decisions early in the game or in the middle of the game can really affect you later in the game. Now here again, we're going to just kind of dip into a little bit of combat. Each of your respective hero units, they have different skills. Heroes can get up to level 10. Honestly, through my first playthrough, I think I only had maybe 5 heroes get to level 10 because of how much experience it takes, and because when they get to about 60-70 years old, your heroes die. So it's a constant kind of shuffling through, and while that might sound daunting, it's actually pretty neat because as you progress through the game, you're able to kind of level your heroes up while they're in training, and different things like that. So Again, you kind of start the game out, it's a little bit of a struggle at first. It definitely puts you through a little bit of the ringer until you kind of grasp the concepts of this being, not a single decision game, but a game where you need to make long-term decisions. So really fun. We're having a great time with it. Again, I'm on my second playthrough. And again, just a little bit of the combat here. Very turn-based. So each hero unit essentially has what they have is a single move, which you can see here in orange, which I'm selecting. And then they have an additional action point, if you will, where they can either attack, move again, or use a special ability. Your alchemists, they get an additional chance to maybe get an additional throw in, which I'll show here. They throw these exploding flasks, which do area damage. So it's very strategic about, additionally with sightlines. So you can kind of see the fringes of it here in black, kind of where that unit just stepped out of, where originally I couldn't see him. It's very sightline based. So each of your heroes have a sight range. They also obviously have a different movement ranges. And as those heroes move forward and progress forward, they essentially see through the fog of war, if you will. Things like trees, obstacles, walls, they actually get in the way of sight, so you can't see through that stuff. You have to be able to see around it. So very tactically based. You only get 5 heroes to bring into any battle, which you're almost always outnumbered. And when I say almost, I believe every single battle you're outnumbered in some capacity or another. Now I'm playing again on a harder difficulty, so I think I have a few more enemies definitely than I did on a normal playthrough. But even on normal playthrough, some of the battles can get pretty tough and pretty intense, and it really rewards good decision making, tactical decision making, being able to move in, use your different abilities like that. My Caberjack, my tank unit, essentially use a knockback ability which hit that guy, and I'm going to use it again here, where he hits this guy, he would move him back a space if the space was available, but because they're both backed up to that boulder, I knock the one guy into the other guy, and they both get stunned for a turn, which means that during their next turn they're not going to be able to attack me, and I'm essentially getting in free shots. Here you see the alchemists. This is a game very based on percentages, so especially for your archers and your alchemist units, the ones that have to do range attacks and throws, as well as your regular tank units also have accuracy percentage as well. It's also a game of balancing, risk as well as, accuracy. So here I'm actually going to move forward, get a better percentage shot at 92%. I think I end up throwing 2 here to do the area damage, and you saw the area of effect in orange right here. Nice little square space, and I'm able to take both those units out. Now that was again one of the free abilities. So alchemists, they get a free throw once you progress them through the skill tree enough, which allows them essentially to attack twice in one turn, or actually attack and then make a movement. The skill trees are actually very advanced, and here you see the percentage differences from throwing really close to really far, and how they change as far as accuracy. So a lot of really good depth in picking your heroes to bring them in the battles. We'll wrap the battles up here and talk a little bit more generally about the game. So this is your overall map. You essentially are able to, in this, you have one base capital, which I'm on right now, and then you have smaller regions around you. And essentially the premise of the game is that you are trying to make it to year 300 without allowing the corruption to encroach and destroy the capital. Here in your capital, you have 2 tabs. You essentially can look through your heroes. These are the people that you can deploy into battle. I'll be honest up front, that battle did not go very well for me, and all of my heroes died. And for me, since I can't go back, normally if you're playing on a regular playthrough, you'd be able to kind of reload the save prior to that battle and kind of take it again. For me, it saves after every decision, so I made some bad decisions and lost that battle. But here you can kind of see your different heroes. We'll talk through a lot of the different things as far as gameplay mechanics, but you can go in, you can see your heroes, you can take a look at their skill trees, see what level they are, see what traits they have, and then throughout the course of the game you can research things. So you can research buildings, different armor, different weapons, and items, all 3 based around some more special advanced weapons. You can build weapons, armors, and items you can build based on how many different types of the enemy you kill. So it's pretty interesting. You can also adopt new heroes, which is a huge mechanic in the game. And then there's some other additional kind of boost type things, but everything takes time. So a lot of it, you'll see the buildings take a longer time. They take 15 to 20 years. The buildings, what you can do with those, essentially the region base is you can build a building on each region. You have three main types of buildings, which are your keeps. This is what essentially keeps your bloodlines alive, allows you to marry two people together, which I'll show you right here, continue that bloodline, and essentially create new heroes. You can also, by marrying two different types of people, in this one I have two alchemists, so they're going to make the alchemist class, but by taking an alchemist and a caberjack, or a caberjack and a hunter, you can essentially start to vary up and kind of predict forward the different types of units that you'll be able to bring into battle. Now, interestingly enough, when these two, the region and the partner, have a baby, that baby gets trained up until it's age 15, so 15 years through the game, and then it becomes able to be used in a battle or take over as a regent or be placed in any of the other types of buildings, or do any number of different things. So I've got a couple keeps built. The second building that we have is the Sage Right. This is essentially a guild. Think of it kind of like your Wizard Guild. Probably isn't the right description, but these are the people that essentially allow the current research, whatever research you have going on, based on their level of intuition, allows them to speed up your current research. And then we have what's called a Crucible, which during the period of time allows that unit that you essentially sacrifice. You can't use them in battle, but you promote them to that, and that brings new experience and allows them to additionally train those trainees at your keeps over the course of that 15 years. So pretty interesting. Again, very deep, very dynamic game, especially when you start to consider how traits are passed on, how when two regions breed, essentially, how they can form new different types of heroes and how their traits kind of mix to pass on forward. And then when you kind of understand the scope of the game and how long it takes over those many years, it's pretty interesting to see the decisions. Now the corruption piece of it, and again here, this was what I was afraid of. Age 66, the partner of this regent ended up dying. And now, because I have very few heroes left at this point, I have no one to marry to this regent and kind of continue that bloodline. So a little bit of a pickle there, but a decision does need to be made. And so you see the timeline at the top, you see a baby getting born right there, and the game kind of just continues and progresses forward. I actually was close enough. I reached one of my research. I researched an item, and now moving forward, I realize I definitely need some heroes here. So again, I have all these different options, but I'm going to go and research some heroes to bring some new people into the fold and kind of be able to continue to fight, essentially. So very simple premise to the game, but very, very deep. Again, the battles, they happen sporadically, but I will say that you can expect a battle about every 8 years or so, which gives you some time to do some research. You can definitely plan forward and look forward in this game. And again, really fun. Really, once you get into the story and start to really understand the deeper mechanics of it and what you need to be able to do, and essentially how you can kind of keep bloodlines, like you see me looking here. I'm trying to keep specific bloodlines alive for specific types of heroes. It's pretty interesting, and it's really a good game. And I will say this: the final boss fight, after playing through this game the first time, was probably one of the most difficult I've ever played, especially running it through on normal. The interesting thing too, as you continue to progress through the game and through the timeline, you'll be faced with different decisions. This is one of them. So they'll give you a little blurb about what the situation is, and you, being the ruler of the kingdom, have to make a decision. And now, having played through this again on my second playthrough, I've already come to some of the same decisions, and these are completely randomized, and the results of them are actually completely randomized as well. So you can make any of those options. I can tell you the last time I made this same choice, it came way later in my game. I chose something and it completely turned disastrous for me. So as we progress forward, we're now at year 82, so we're just kind of moving the timeline along. We get attacked again. So I think we hit about, I think that in between was about 6 years or so of game time. So it's not like it's so consistent that you're fighting battles every year. But it's not so sporadic that you feel like you're just blowing through the game. I would say there's a good mix of being able to progress your nation as well as fight your battles, essentially. So this is the battle select screen. As you can see, again, I'm very low on heroes. I wasn't able to research and get some more before this battle. And at this point, I'm trying to make the decision for me if I want to fight this battle or if I want to just let this go. Now, you can skip the battles if you want. Obviously, that comes with a penalty. So for me, I would have lost this building, and then the cadence would have been stronger the next time it came around, which probably would have been a good decision for me because I ended up choosing to fight this battle and don't do so well in it either because I really don't have the heroes to back me up. But I do end up trying to make this fight. The crucial thing is you can see those 3 kind of like diamonds up above the crucible attack. And what happens to the region is if it fills up and it takes 3 attacks and you don't defend or you choose to skip the battle, or a lot of times you'll see they'll attack 2 places at once and you have to make the point, you have to choose which point you want to defend. If any time those regions hit 3 corruption markers, you end up losing the region. So the region sinks into the sea of corruption, and whatever buildings you have on it go away. So again, it's very intricate. There's a lot of different strategies to the game, not only just in the battle specifically, but even outside in the grander scheme. So I end up going through. I end up picking my heroes to bring in. I decide I'm going to make this fight, which again I wish I wouldn't have, and just let it go. But again, you can equip items prior to, you can look at their skill trees. During the battles, if they level up, they can pick a skill every 2 levels. So level 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, they get a new skill. You can actually upgrade those skills and pick those skills in the battles. So again, very interesting. Really just wanted to do a game spotlight because me and Sloth are playing it. Again, it's a great single player experience if you're really into that RPG type element, especially the tactics side. Again, Final Fantasy Tactics is probably the best example I can give to kind of mirror what this game is, at least on the single battle side. That's kind of what I would say for a game for gold, or hopefully you have it there, or for a game that's honestly, I don't know what it is in the store, but it's got to be super cheap. If you're looking for something, kind of mix it up and give yourself a little bit of different diversity, definitely recommend it. Check it out. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you want us to kind of continue to do these game spotlights. We think this would be a great series. We hope you guys get a lot out of it, and maybe pick up on some games that we're enjoying, that we've played through, and that are definitely capturing our attention and providing us, again, something a little bit different, and hopefully showing you guys, again, something that you might not have picked up on had we not said anything. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the new series. Hopefully you guys enjoy this game. If you do end up picking it up and need any tips or tricks, feel free to hit us up. I've been Doc with the Average Gamer Guys. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe, follow us on Twitter, join the Average Gamer Guys Club. Thank you so very much for watching.